and all of you podcast applications. My name's Adam Dilbeck. I am the paid and social media specialist here at X2, and this is my co-host,
Nicole Gunn.
She's the chief marketing officer.
Yay!
And we are the mid-marketers, right?
Did we just clap for me? That's weird.
I was clapping for me because I did such a good job announcing. Yay, go me. Anyways, we are the mid-marketers. We are here to talk about B2B stuff and marketing and being scrappy and all that good jazz. And today we're here to talk about gamification, right?
We are here to talk about gamification. You know, what is it?
Mm-hmm. It's fun for profit.
How do you go about designing and planning it and executing? And here are some really cool examples that you use every day or may not even know about. So all things gamification.
Yep. I think step one is what is gamification. If you're wondering, it's not just, going home, turning on the Nintendo and playing Tetris or Wii or Flappy Birds or whatever the kids are playing nowadays. But in a business sense, what would you say gamification is?
Yeah, I think, gamification is really bringing an element of fun to something that you're trying to achieve, right? Whether that be driving culture and behaviors behind culture, or even behaviors within sales, or customer loyalty, et cetera. I think it's just bringing that fun component, and then
it's like taking your goals and hyping them up and putting some rewards and motivation on them to get people or whoever to help you achieve your objectives.
Yeah, 100%, and building communities of people, really, right? When you think about it, I look at my loyalty program. So my vet office has a loyalty program. And I am obsessively comparing myself to others like, oh, they had this new washout. I must go and get that. I don't need to spend that much money for a wash, but I want that badge. My other people within the vet office are getting the badge. Therefore, I feel somewhat obligated, and their dogs look really good. They're posting the pictures and sharing the pictures. So I got to get I want my dog to get that same badge. And that's actually, you guys should write this down, Village Vet. You start giving my dogs badges, I'm going to come all the time. It's not just about my badge. I need my dogs to, I'm giving them all the things because, they're my babies.
Like a merit badge for, their harness. You can put little iron-ons on there. Be like, the best shampooed.
The best.
Aussie.
My Aussies would just walk around like,
Aussies.
Look at me, guys.
Yeah.
Well, Timber would go, so it'd be like, another bath. What is wrong with her?
So, I'm trying to figure out this gamified system at your vet. They get washes, and then they get put on a leaderboard. How does this work?
No, so okay, well that's some of the things, but essentially, at the vet, it's when you go in, what they're really trying to do is encourage behaviors, i.e., keeping up with your dog's health, right? So you go in, you get annual vaccines, you get to. It looks like a little push pin almost, right? You go and you click it and it gives you this badge for doing so. That's really important. If you keep up with your dog's heartworm, every month you give one, you get to push the badge. If you get their anal glands squeezed, you get the badge. So you're essentially. It does have to be done, right? So it's understanding all of that, preventative health, making sure you get your rabies shot based on how frequently you do that. I think they have the annual or the 3 years now, and other vaccines. So you earn badges for that.
That sounds suspiciously similar to the new incentive/gamification plan we've got attached to our health insurance here at the office, right?
Okay, but that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that. So, and Adam, I don't know if you'll remember this, but years ago, you and I sat down with our founder, Steve Damro, and we're like, we should bring gamification to health. And I believe we got shot down. We were like, well, they're just not visionaries. Bleh. I know, all these years later, but it is so important, right? Can you, people, unfortunately in America, we don't always have the best health. I hear doctors complaining about it. I have doctors in my own, my uncle, for example, would always complain about diabetes is on the rise, and other health issues from bad eating, and God knows the preservatives they put in our food, et cetera. So what if we did reward people for making healthier choices? Not going to Golden Corral every night. Right. It's better than penalizing us with higher insurance costs at the end of the day, because it's, in case you guys don't know, that's also a community too, just one that sucks. Yep. You got to have it, but But on
the other side of it, they are rewarding you for doing good behaviors.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's a game. Oh my God, if I go and get my blood pressure checked or pick up my medication, I'm going to get a $30 gift card or something. Totally.
And Katrina, I'm calling you out here. Thank you so much. She sent us an email. I had no idea we did this. I've worked here for a lot of years, you guys. And she said, hey, in case you guys forgotten, if you've been keeping up with X, Y, and Z, she said, and you log into your Blue Cross Blue Shield app, you can actually earn points. You're part of a system. Holy cow. Logged in. I redeemed $50 gift card that my husband spent.
Let's give a round of applause for Katrina.
Yay, Katrina. Thank you for letting me know. That was... this is that.
No? Is that too old for you?
I don't...
I got it from my dad. Anyways.
Oh, he's precious.
So, yeah. That is a cool way to gamify health. But I mean, like... Gamification hasn't always been what it is today, right? Like, it's come a long way as far as, like, now we've got it when you get a shampoo for your puppy or when you get groceries.
To Starbucks. Everybody goes to Starbucks, or you go to the doctor.
Yeah.
It's invaded.
Yeah.
Right?
It's come
almost
a long
like AI.
way from punch cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's that, but also, when you think about gamification, there's a psychological component to that, and everyone's very much into mental health and understanding what makes people tick. And I think a lot of that started with, like social media, right? And understanding the influence it's having on people today and where we hang out and what we're doing. And yeah, it's... They've
had to do it there.
Well, because if you think about it, back in yesteryears, you got spankings and you had to work out, and on the farm, and you had to, kids were expected to do all these things, but now we're actually rewarding kids at a very young age, and we're making them part of communities where they feel like they find people who are like them, who maybe think like them, who are engaged with the same sort of hobbies and
communities.
Exactly. Yeah. That they are. So it's, I think it has come a long way, but I think that psychology's had a lot to do with that.
I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on kids on the farms, but this is too old.
Yeah. Well, okay, but you know what I mean? Like when our parents were growing up, and even especially before that, like the early 1900s, you woke up at 8 years old, you were going out to work. You didn't always have an education.
No.
Your job, you were literally working from the time you could walk and do things. And so...
got to make the taters.
Right. And so anyway, so I think it's understanding just how things have evolved over the years and understanding the psychological component to that.
And then now it's plugged into crazy things. Like, and some of it's not even overt, I guess you'd say. Like, you look at somewhere like Snapchat, right? Like, they don't necessarily, well, I don't know. I'm not on Snapchat. I've been against it.
It's so hard to use.
Yeah. And I've been against it since my kid was on there getting in trouble. But... like, I don't know if they started it or if you get a badge or something like that, but like streaks, just like taking a blurry ass picture, scribbling an S on there, and then they're like, yeah, I did it. And like, everybody's got to get their streaks.
Do you even have to scribble the S? I think you can just snap whatever you're just, I don't even know where you're sending them. Are you sending them to people?
It's like getting an award because you got out of bed and went, pooh. And that's what they're like, people get badges. They're like, look, I went like that with my phone.
But see, and I think that that's dangerous with gamification. Yeah. Much like if you're going to use it in business, please don't just, oh, goody, you came to work today, bravo.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's extreme, right?
Give them $50 in points.
Yeah, they showed up on time. Well, that's like par for the course, right? Like,
nope.
Like, and tying that to streaks, like maybe it's not just you took a picture of yourself waking up with a ceiling fan, but it's, what is the coolest picture that you could post today? Like something funny that happened. Like, could you have different communities, kind of like Reddit communities, right? Mm-hmm. Where you're posting these snaps. What are the streaks, rather? Yeah. Streaks. And may the best man win. Mm-hmm. Snapchat probably needs to come up with an algorithm for what does the best look like on any given day, because...
they just want people on their app.
That's I hear you, but can we just...
We want that. They don't care. They just want engagement and getting that one picture a day.
But that's where they're wrong. It should come down to the users and what we want. Mm-hmm. But the problem is we are truly the users of Snapchat.
We're not their demographic.
It is
that's
the kids
what I'm saying.
Who are hiding conversations from their parents. Write that down. It's true. It is. Oh my God, I banged again. I don't know. I'm passionate about this.
Yeah. I don't know. So... but I mean, that's like we were talking earlier, maybe in V1 of this footage that we did, but the goals, you got to have goals, and their goal is engagement and get somebody on there once a day, get them hooked, give them a badge. And so I think probably like you hear a lot of us, like Savannah and I, we play Pokemon Go. We're nerds, and like they get people to do things on that app that gives them location data and all kinds of other data that they're pulling from the app, and that's what they're really making money on. And I think Snapchat's doing the same thing when they take a picture, it uses GPS, and it's pulling all the other stuff. So it aligns with their goals, but people are getting a badge for going,
I'm banging the table and you're beating your mic.
Yeah.
We are clear. Yeah. Is that
Guys, we're on fire today. Sponsored by Crema and their great coffee, right?
and their chocolate?
Yep. They're here in Dunwoody, Metro Atlanta, whatever you want to call it. They're fantastic. Shout out to Crema. They welcome their new employee, Taylor. What is our new employee's name?
We welcomed our new employee, Taylor, today with a Crema basket of goodies.
Crema basket of goodies.
Yeah.
And some drinks and coffee. And I am way too ADHD for coffee like that. So that's where we are, right?
All right. So speaking of, let's reel that back in. But I think you were circling to a good point, which, we're talking a lot about gamification and how we use it every day. But the truth is, in businesses, especially in a B2B atmosphere like we have, or for marketers, even for those of you watching, how do you take a small budget and put gamification into play?
Well, gamification is going to serve you, right? Like not just gamifying something, but like putting it to its optimal use that aligns with your goals and your metrics and your needs, and people love it and they come to you more.
So step one, starting with the plan. But it's, what are plans typically? And you're right, it's always starting with goals, right? Mm-hmm. So whatever your goals may be, if you were thinking about some common goals, there's always like increased revenue. So we want new logo acquisition, right? Maybe you want expansion as part of that,
Mm-hmm. Golly, that sounds familiar. Almost like a program we did, huh?
Yeah, it does. We'll talk about that in a second. But what are some other like KPIs you would want to put as, front and center of
engagement, brand recognition, loyalty. Like if somebody's invested in your loyalty program and your points and the way you're gamifying leaderboards and all that kind of stuff, they're going to come back to you. Like I've worked here for a long time and I'm kind of cynical about it. Like I get my Kroger rewards and some stuff from some of the comic shops I go to, but like I didn't think people were like, oh my God, I've got to use this credit card so I can get some miles. But my wife, since we got one, like I'll be going to pay for groceries and she's like, get out of the way. And like, I got to get some miles. Yeah, that stuff is real, man. People get passionate about it.
Well, and they do here too. We see that, right? So when you're talking about planning for a business, you start with your KPIs. I think you'll also have to be really clear what products are part of the promotion. So essentially what we're saying, if I were to summarize and use our big boys and girl words, is you got to treat this like a real campaign, right? When you're building gamification is a campaign in and of itself, much like you would run an SEO campaign or a brand awareness campaign or, whatever. It's a video marketing campaign. You have to sit down and take the time and build your RACI charts. Who's going to be involved, understanding that from the get-go so they can get buy-in. And it has to be a top-down thing, just like any other campaign. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the big ones that are going to have massive impact. Like so an example of that, like we did the Pipeline Pro Bowl here. That's what you were circling back to. And
I figured it's a good segue.
No, it's probably a great segue. There's probably a lot more in planning we could have covered, but we'll lead by example, or we'll tell by example.
That's right. That's what podcasts are.
But so if we go back and we were to think about this a couple years ago, right? We started. We needed to drive new sales, and was one goal, right? So we started with like, what are we really trying to accomplish here? Treat it like a campaign, and we said we want to bring fun to the culture. We wanted people to get involved. So at the time, we were really experiencing the sales team kind of going at things alone. I mean, yeah, they had marketing to help with certain things, but if they were going into a big pitch, you didn't have product necessarily going, hey, or a business analyst or something to that effect, getting involved and saying, let me sit in on this demo with you. We didn't really know what was in the pipeline. When I say we didn't know, we knew from, marketing and sales knows because we're using Salesforce, we're logging in every day, we see what's sitting there where the opportunity lies. However, the greater company was kind of blind there. And that's too bad because you never know who has a friend that maybe works in one of those companies who could have some influence, or better yet, someone who could say, hey, I heard that you're working this opportunity. We have another, I say client, but we have this client over here who had something similar, or I worked at another company and we did this thing that might work here for you. So opening up those lines of communication so it could actually help our sales team drive forward, right, and provide really good solutions to opportunities.
It's kind of like our the VP, who was VP of sales at that point in time. Let me say it's teamwork makes the dream work, which is as cliche can be, but God, it's true.
No, it's very true, right? And from that point, we decided to take, what do people really care? And guys, when we did this, we really looked at our organization. And something about this company, X2, that you have to know is we're extremely competitive and people like sports. Especially college football. And admittedly, I am more of a pro football person, and I'm really not that. I mean, I get it. I like to go to the games, but I don't really care that much. But college football at this company is a really big deal for U.S.-based employees.
Yeah.
So we decided to rally or to build this campaign around college football, and that's why it was called the Pipeline Pro Bowl. And Adam, chime in here whenever you want to, because I feel like I'm hogging the mic. But we started off with really understanding what our goals were, and then we went and had fun with the campaign. And we didn't do just a basic campaign. Like, we got up every single Monday in front of the company. We recorded it, I say in front of the company, we recorded a video, we posted it the very next day so the organization would know what we're working on. We'd have members of the team, like, so the sales team would get up, they would talk about their opportunities, they would reach out and ask for help. So they would get up and essentially say, hey guys, this is where we could use some help. So anybody out there, give us some feedback. We would post this on our team's channels. Mm-hmm. And what ended up happening is across the organization, we started to see people get involved. Oh yes, we do have answers for you on this. I would love to join that demo. So much, and culturally adopted so much that whenever we missed by like a few hours of posting, and then that happens sometimes, you're not at exactly 11 a.m., you're at 11:45, people would actually reach out, hey, when is that video going to come out? We brought a lot of elements of fun to it.
We did.
So to circle back, and when we say elements of fun, it was, when we were presenting, it wasn't just, making it sound like the sales guys were up and just begging for help.
No,
it was communicating, right? It was informative, explaining the why we're doing certain things, what we need from others, how we're solving pain points. So you're essentially training an entire organization on our products and our services at the same time. What was really cool, and this is one of the things that you owned, and I thought was really great, we built PowerPoint sort of videos back. It showed it was a real football. I say it wasn't a real football field. It was a real designed football field. And you had people moving up and down. We had Hail Marys. We had all kinds of things in there. And you would show this movement. So it was this very interactive, almost gamified
100%
presentation that landed really well internally.
Yeah. And everybody got really proud of it. We had, like she said, we put out our own little sports center on Mondays, I think it was. Is that the day? It doesn't matter. The day we put it out doesn't matter.
Put it on Tuesdays,
we put the video out and everybody get together and watch it. People would get on people's teams. I saw a couple of shirts and they got really excited about where they were on the scoreboard and how far along they were. And so internally, company-wide, it was a huge success and we learned a lot from it. But, like some things you work your hardest, right? And you may not get the results you want. And I think that's one of the key learnings from this because
well, when you have KPIs, right? Mm-hmm. So in this, from this campaign, even though we met all of our brand engagement and internal KPIs, what we actually missed was the net new logo, right? And what was interesting, one of the things we hadn't mentioned before that we had built in, and to be fair, we had built this in a little, I don't want to say halfway through the campaign because it was earlier than that, but we had a slight pivot. You marketers know what I'm talking about. But we came in and we said, hey, look, we're rolling out new pricing. Let's see if this works, right? And so we were able to use this Pipeline Pro Bowl as a means to test that with audiences. And it was interesting at the time because we kind of had 3 different mindsets in-house. With the new pricing, we had some who were going, oh, this pricing is going to work. This is going to be great. We're, and this is why we should charge all this money. And then you had another group going, I don't think so. Here's, we feel like we'd do better here. This is kind of what we pay for other tools. And then you really had marketing and sales going, time out, guys. This is what the market will bear. This is what we're seeing in our, across the competitive landscape. And even outside of the competitive landscape, other technologies, because at the end of the day, we're a MarTech company with a very, very high level of service for those who want that. The point I'm trying to make, though, is we put it out into market, and what we were able to determine, so even though we didn't hit net new logo, that pricing didn't work. And so we were able to take that data back, and you go, okay, lesson learned. There's no such thing as a failure. There's this really interesting meme that I've seen going around And it's based off of an old philosophy that or principle that I don't know the name of, but it's basically, it's a flat box and it says failure. And that's one way to look at failure. The other way to look at failure is you've got failure and then you've got lessons all around it. So it becomes this 3D cube sort of thing. And so for us, I think the lesson learned was you got to know what the market will bear and you got to listen. So, your clients aren't going to make up what they're willing to spend. They're going to say, this is what I'm willing to spend. This is what I have to spend. And how do we know that? Because we too have budgets. We all have budgets and we all have small ones. So,
Mid-marketers.
Yeah, marketing, do more with less, do more with less, do more with less. So you can want to take an incentive program or a loyalty program or your through channel marketing efforts or any basic, or I shouldn't say basic, but any marketing campaign, you can want to add gamification, but it comes at a cost.
Yep.
And you have to be able to justify that cost. And for us, even though, yes, we had a net new logo fail, we still had the engagement, the internal win, and we had the lessons learned win, and we've been able to modify pricing along the way to get us into a better place and actually prove what the market is capable of. So,
yep. And we learned about driving internal engagement and driving hype up and getting people involved and building a culture out of something like that.
Well, building a culture, and what I love about that is we actually, it's funny when people go, oh, you need this internal culture and get everyone to participate. And some people just aren't going to participate in what you want, in the marketing initiatives that you may have. And so, for example, we tried doing this, your own, personal brands. And some people just don't want to be in front of a camera. Mm-hmm. They're terrified of doing that, or they go, hey, look, I don't want that. Like, I'm perfectly happy being an executor and I will totally share anything the company posts, but I'm not doing all this extra stuff. I think as an organization, you have to define as extra stuff is part of the culture. And if it is, then you have to hire people who meet that demand, right, of what your or that expectation of culture. But if you're okay with having some within your team who go, hey, look, that's never going to be me, I'm not going to do it. Okay, fine. From a campaign like this, we were able to determine who those people were, Keenan. Yeah.
Keenan. You'll hear more from him later.
Well, when we say Keenan,
there's a lot of people, but boy, he stands out.
He always stands out, right? Yeah. He's just so great. But really, Sarah Tansini was another one who I thought stood out very well during that time, who just, I don't really know much, about what I'm going to say, but I do know how to help solve this problem. Well, so say that. Talk about that.
That, and she's done other videos. Like, she gets out.
She's great.
She's awesome. Yeah.
But my point in saying that is exactly right? You have to help people find their confidence. Mm-hmm. And then once she started, I think it became a little more natural to her.
Yep.
So again, if you're thinking about that 3D box, right? Failure, learn all around it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what do we learn?
That Adam and I are banging the tables, hitting our mics, and rusty. That's what we learned today.
That's an inside joke between us. I always pretend I'm like, oh yeah, can you repeat that? And pretend I'm not listening because I'm a good employee. Love my CMO. Anyways, when you are completely like from the ground up, you're like, say you're in a tile manufacturer in northern Georgia and you're trying to drive sales or something like that. And you're like, maybe some gamification would help me out. I've heard him talk about it on that cool ass mid-marketers podcast and I want to get me some of that. Where do I start?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing you have to do is, I'm a big believer in pilots. Start small, go big. I wish that's something we had done with the Pipeline Pro Bowl. Because we just went big.
Blew the doors off.
Yeah, all the budget. But no,
and the price.
Yeah. Well, that was part of the budget. But no, I think it's really sitting down a couple of things right off the gate. Like, why are you wanting to implement gamification? Mm-hmm. You have to really have a good foundation. And if you go out and say, I just want, because I'm a manufacturer in Georgia and I just want to have it, it's probably not the best answer. Okay. Right? It's like, what are you actually trying to do here? And the long-term objective needs to be loyalty and community building. I think if you can circle it and if you can build that and that's part of it, then you're probably on the right path.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially loyalty.
100%. Because, to me, it's community, right? Because people want to be a part of something. And so, and it doesn't always have to be a vast community. With that being said, you have to really know who you want to target with gamification, right? If you have, let's just say you have 1,000 distributors, right? Or dealers or installers or, depending on, did you say there was a manufacturer? I'm trying to think.
Yeah. Let's call it a random tile manufacturer in North Georgia.
Okay. So you want to know how many people are actually going to be participating in this. And then you're going to have to look throughout your distribution network and say, what points do I actually want to include in gamification? Much like planning out any other campaign, one you might be sending messaging to, essentially with this, you're inviting them to be part of something. So you have to understand the foundation of the game that you want to build, who's going to be a part of it, and what products are going to apply.
Yeah.
If you're a tile manufacturer, likely you have more than 4 or 5 products. It is my guess. You've got plenty of them.
At least 6.
100%, right? So you may want to start off to get people in with some of your top selling products, right? Because you go, okay, this is what's going to draw them in. But at some point, you may want to start bringing in a little bit of extra something for those products you're just trying to get off the shelves, or maybe it's a new product and you want to make a splash and build awareness around it, and you start bringing that in, right? And they can start earning, we would say rewards, because to me incentives are largely is a lot of gamification, but also you could start earning merit badges. Maybe you're the leader of this product. And what's really cool about that, if you do it right, I think, is that you can start creating product panels of people who actually talk about your products and become influencers for you because of these sorts of things. So, you can tie in things like testimonials and ratings and reviews, and you can imagine if you're setting up, I'm sorry, I can go down the idea path all day long, but like imagine you have your installers going out and they're recording how to install so that people can see that, right? So again, you just have to really understand the foundation of what you're trying to achieve and why you're trying to do it. And I think if you can start there with some very, very, a short list, and by a short list, no more than 3 smart goals, then you're going to be going down the right path.
Like, I've got this one product I need to move, incentivize it or gamify it or whatever. I've got this new product I need to sell. I've got this customer block that I'm trying to buy more. And then I've got these salespeople that I want to up their game because they're not in the top 20% or something like that.
Yeah, but then also open it outside of that, right? So a lot of people, I think, especially in the B2B network, you open it up and you say, okay, my distributor, I'm going to open this up for them. But it's not, yes, you're going to need that owner's or that CEO's buy-in or president or whatever the title is. But those dealers or distributor sales reps, that's really who you want to include in this, right? And so what's important to them? What are you trying to help them do successfully? And then, like I said, just keep going through the network.
Snowballing from there.
Exactly. Oh, thank you. That's such a great way to describe that. It's just the snowball effect from there.
Yep. One person sells 2 people.
But,
no, that sounds horrible.
But also, like, do it smart, right? Because 3 goals, don't kill yourselves. Small pilot, and then as you figure out what works for you, start bringing on additional products and start bringing on additional, distributors or dealers or installers, et cetera. And the reason being is you want to learn with a small group and a small budget, and then start rolling that out to to the larger groups and the larger budgets, keeping in mind that no 2 products are the same, right, for the same distributor. So, for example, if you're selling to someone here in Georgia, that product may be very different than someone in Florida or someone in the Northeast or someone in the Southwest, et cetera. So when I say product, just based on design trends or, hell, even weather trends, right? You certainly want different products in different areas. So
yep,
those sorts of things have to be considered.
Yep, and when you're doing it, make sure you have a quality provider like us that can give you the ROI on the investment, right?
Oh, 100%. but it's, even if you can't, you just making sure you understand how you're going to measure and that you're communicating that out. Getting buy-in and getting participation and engagement is, I think, necessary.
Yeah.
It's not a nice to have. You have to make that a necessary component.
Yeah. And I mean, like, you covered it, but it's like the very starting point is like, do you want to sell more do you want your salespeople to sell more, or do you want your customers to buy more? Like, what side of the table are you trying to motivate?
So for companies who want to use gamification, you can actually branch outside of the sales team too, right? Customer service, they filled a lot of calls, so there's a lot of opportunity for selling, and you can actually start bringing in some training and gamified training. I think that is such an underutilized, like, gaming, I don't want to say tool, but like gaming idea, a gaming philosophy concept, that people just don't take enough advantage of, because you just never know where the next opportunity is going to come from. And it could be, like imagine you're a dealership, right? Let's just use a car dealership. Why not add gamification? Now, I want to be really clear when I say this. I am not suggesting that the warehouse rip anyone off. That would be a horrible, stupid thing to do. But you can gamify people taking care of their cars. People should take care of their pets, and people should take care of their cars and their health. And so you could easily put in, let's just use like a tire distributor, right? Or manufacturer, either or, work out, negotiations with these car dealerships where people earn badges for taking care of their tires or getting their windshield wiper. How many times have you gotten into someone's car and their windshield wiper blades are just garbage and you're like, I can't see out of this.
Every day. That's my car.
But you know
change my windshield wiper blades.
So what if you could gamify like $2 off and you get a badge for, you're the windshield wiper guy. I don't know, but you can, the
That's
point
me.
is, right. You get a pizza too. I don't know. But you get my point, right? It's that we can do these things or businesses can do these sorts of things and think outside of sales because a lot happens without the sales department. Now, it can make its way back to sales, and it certainly probably should, but every interaction you have with any human being is an opportunity.
Every time we do this, there's a company that's doing it right. What is your company that's doing gamification right? Is that your vet? Is that who you're going to go with? Because that's pretty incredible. I've never heard of game.
Actually, that's a cool one, but there's this, I'm going to steal the Orange Theory example. I think the Orange Theory does it well.
Yeah.
Compete again. People like to compete, and it's easier when you're working out that hard and you're up against the guy next to you. It makes it a lot more fun. So I think that they're doing,
especially when it's like live on screen. Like you can look over and be like, "I'm going to kick your ass."
Right, and he's looking at you thinking the same thing, and you have that camaraderie right from the get go.
Yeah, you're looking.
Which is really what gamification is. Right, you're having fun together. It's like playing a board game where you're just.
People are competitive.
Yeah, well, and it's fun.
And you're doing something good in the process.
Yeah, and it's nothing personal. It's just, and I love, so I do this. I actually go to Lifetime, and I know who the star players are that I'm like, oh, I'm going to compete with you today because they're going to drive me to do better. And at the end, if they win, and a lot of times that happens because I try to compete with people who are really, really good.
And you congratulate them. Good job.
No, I don't. But I do like to go up and say, "Oh my God, you did such a great job!"
Yeah.
Right? Because there's nothing personal in that. It's even if I'm competing at Orange Theory, like it's all about just being better every time and doing something better. So I don't know. I like that.
I'm going to steal her example, a vet that gives you points. And it would be cool if they'd give you badges and stuff to make your little puppy beautiful. Like my dog's better than yours, and it's all over their harness.
Yeah.
Like I want that. I want to go to the park.
You want to go to the park
and just strut them around, and all the other dogs are like, "Look at their badges."
Yeah, totally.
That's pretty amazing. Like Bauer would be so proud.
That's all I'm saying. See, if the dog gets the badge and not me, I'm going to double down. Village Vets, write that down.
Yep. So that's all we have for you today. Stay tuned for more content, as I've mentioned several times on this episode, from Keenan Meadows, our product manager who knows games inside and out and how you can use our systems to do it. So we appreciate you joining us. I've been Adam.
And I'm Nicole.
And we're the Mid-Marketers.
See ya.
Bye.